Hello there and welcome back to another gluten-free, lactose-free and yeast-free baking video. How are we doing today? Today I'm going to be making my version of hot cross buns, and of course they're going to be gluten-free, lactose-free and yeast-free. You will be needing the following equipment: some scales, some measuring spoons, a measuring jug, a zester or grater, a baking tray or cookie sheet, whatever you have access to, some spray oil, some baking paper, a pen or pencil, some scissors, one large mixing bowl, a spatula, a sieve, a fork, a pastry brush, a cooling rack, a small mixing bowl, a tall glass, an elastic band, one piping bag, and a nozzle, although that is completely optional. You will also be needing the following ingredients. For your hot crust buns you will be needing 288 grams of gluten-free self-raising flour plus some extra for rolling, 55 grams of caster sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, a quarter teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a pinch of ground ginger, 58 grams of butter cold, I like to use lactose-free butter, half a teaspoon of lemon zest, 38 grams of currants, 63 millilitres of milk, again I like to use lactose-free milk, 63 millilitres of water, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and one medium-sized egg beaten. And for your icing you will be needing 200 grams of icing sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk, I like to use lactose-free milk, and half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So, let's go! First things first, measure out and prepare all of your ingredients so that they're completely ready for you to use, and then preheat your oven to 190 degrees C on a conventional oven, 170 degrees C on a fan oven, or gas mark 5. So now it is time to prepare our tray. So for this we will be needing our baking tray / cookie sheet, our baking paper, our pen or pencil, our scissors, and our spray oil. So first things first, I'm going to take out my baking paper, roll it underneath my baking tray, as close to the edges as possible so we waste as little paper as possible. There we go. And now I'm going to draw around the bottom of my baking tray. There we go. Now I'm just going to cut this out. Okay. So now just place, oh, goodness, there we go. Place this off to the side. Give your baking tray a quick spray with some oil just to keep the baking paper down while you're finishing doing everything else. And then we're going to place our baking paper into our baking tray with the side that we drew on facing down. There we go, because we don't want any of that nasty stuff to go into our hot cross buns. There we go. So now place this off to the side until we're ready to bake. Okay, so now that we've done all that nasty prep work, it is now time to actually begin making our lovely hot cross buns. So for this we will be needing our large mixing bowl, our sieve, our spatula, our butter, our flour, our caster sugar, our salt, our ground cinnamon and our ground ginger. So to start with, we are just going to place all of our butter into our large mixing bowl. There we go. Flattening it out a bit so that it's not all in just one big place. Then we're going to place our sieve on top of our large mixing bowl, and we're basically just going to add everything else to the sieve. So the flour. Now I've made mistakes with this before, so hopefully it won't mess me around again. There we go. Our caster sugar. Our salt. Our ground cinnamon. And our ground ginger. So now we're just going to quickly sieve all of this in. Completely covering the butter. And now, after removing all of our hand jewellery, we are going to rub this lot together until it resembles fine breadcrumbs. So I would say that this is about how I want it to be. So now I'm going to grab my lemon zest and my currants. So now I'm simply just going to add my lemon zest and my currants to my mixture. And using my spatula, I'm just going to mix these all together until they're well combined. So this is looking lovely and well combined. So now I'm just going to grab my milk, my water, my vanilla extract and my fork. So now it is time to actually make a well in the centre of our large mixing bowl. I basically do this by going from the middle and dragging everything out. There we go. And now I'm going to add my milk. My water. And my vanilla extract. And now using my fork, I'm going to begin working from the middle outwards to bring all of this lot together to equal a dough, or just to bring it all together. Okay. So now that this is nearly together, I'm just going to grab my extra flour for rolling. I'm now just going to flour my work surface once it's open. So now I'm just going to tip this mixture onto my floured work surface. Don't worry if it's a bit crumbly or a bit wet, that's what this part is for. Come on. Come on. Okay. So now using our floured work surface, we're just going to knead this until it stops crumbling. Adding more flour, of course, if we need to. There we go, so I'd say that that's now about there. So now that this is all done, we're going to grab our prepared baking tray or cookie sheet, our pastry brush, and our beaten egg. So the first thing we're going to do is roughly tear bits off to equal 6 pieces. So this recipe makes 6 hot cross buns. If you would like more, obviously just double it or work it out as to how you want it. You can measure this out and then equally divide it with a calculator and the scales and all that, but I actually don't mind just doing it by eye. I can add some more to whatever or less to whatever. It's up to me, really. Well, that is definitely not worked, has it? Look at the size of that compared to the rest of them. Goodness. Okay, so a bit more to you. Bit more to you, you, and you. And then just roll them round until it goes right. So now I'm going to place these onto my baking tray, that's the word. And then I'm actually just going to quickly shape them like hot cross buns. Now to me, from memory, they're shaped like squares. So I'm just going to square mine off a bit and flatten them a bit. While you're doing this, you're going to want to kind of space them apart a bit, so don't have them too close to each other because they do spread slightly in the oven. I mean, if you want to do that tear and share thing, by all means go for it, but as I say, it's completely up to you. I'm just giving you the tools. What you decide to do with it is up to you. And don't worry if there's cracks or anything as you do this, because that's what the beaten egg is for. It seals that all up. So now I'm going to brush these with my beaten egg. Okay. This gives it a nice golden colour when you bake them in the oven, and it also helps to get rid of, I'm sorry, I'm very tongue-tied today. It helps to get rid of all these little cracks that may have formed while you were making them. Go. 1. So that's how you do it, so I'm just going to skip to the end because you don't need to watch all of this. You're also going to want to do all of the edges as well, not just the tops. So now we're going to place these into our preheated oven for 20 to 25 minutes until they are lovely and golden brown in colour. Then we're going to take them out of the oven, placing them still in their tray on a cooling rack to cool completely. So now that my hot cross buns are out of the oven and are cooling, it is now time to begin making our icing. So for this we will be needing a small mixing bowl, our spatula, or wooden spoon, whatever you want to use, our icing sugar, our milk and our vanilla extract. So to start with, all we're going to do is place all of our icing sugar into our small mixing bowl, giving it a quick whisk around because somehow mine's really, really lumpy. Followed by our vanilla extract. So now we're going to begin mixing this together, adding a little bit of our milk at a time to our mixture until our icing is nice and smooth. There we go, that's kind of how I want it. Don't worry if it's a bit thick or very thick because it's actually got to pipe on the shape of a cross, so it needs to be a bit hard. So now that we've done all this, we're going to need our piping bag, our tall glass, our elastic band and our scissors, and a nozzle if you're using one. So now we are going to open up our piping bag. If you wanted to use a nozzle, now would be the time to put it in there. Put our piping bag into our tall glass, wrapping the piping bag around the edges of our tall glass and using an elastic band to keep it in place so that it doesn't just shoot up and go all over you while you're trying to add your mixture. Now we are going to add our mixture to our piping bag. There we go. So then just unwrap move the elastic band to the bottom of your glass and unwrap your piping bag, pushing all of your icing to the bottom of your piping bag. And then I actually like to use the elastic band again to tie up the end. This is mainly so that when I'm again piping, the same as putting the icing in, when I'm piping it doesn't go up all over my hands. Oh, what's happened here? There we go. So now place that off to the side, and once your hot cross buns are finished cooling, grab them and then we'll begin icing. So now that my hot cross buns have finished cooling, it is now time to actually ice them. So I am going to prepare my icing by snipping off a little bit at the end of my piping bag. I don't want too much as I don't want the crust to be super thick. And then I'm simply, once this has gone down, there we go, simply going to ice across on the top of them. There we go. So repeat this with the rest of your hot cross buns and I will see you after that. So after you have iced your hot cross buns, you can leave them to the side to set or you can eat them straight away. It's completely up to you. And that is it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description as I love them all and wouldn't put them there if I didn't, including the recipe for these hot cross buns where you will be able to buy all of the flour and equipment you will need for this recipe. If you do make these at home, don't forget to tag me on Instagram and use the hashtag bakingwithvickiie so that I can see all your lovely creations. Let me know in the comments of anything else you'd like to see me make gluten, lactose or yeast free as I do them all. And finally, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. Bye!